Just take a moment to picture this, okay? Imagine this. Your brother puts $10 on the table, right? It's his money. It's not yours, but it's on the table. Now, your little sister is standing there right in front of you, begging for money. Like, really begging. Like, if you do not give that money right now, she will snitch on your ass. So, you grab your brother's $10, you hand it to her, and you proceed to say, well, yeah, just give it back by Friday, okay? Sounds quite simple, right? Well, except that money was really never yours to give away in the first place. Now, replace your arrogant brother with Russia, replace the $10 with a whopping 210 billion euros, and replace yourself with the European Union. And that's exactly the situation Europe is in right now, which is low-key giving sibling fight if you would ask me. So let's break this down. For almost 4 years now, money from the Russian central bank has been blocked in Europe. Most of it is held at Euroclear in Brussels, and some of it is held at other financial institutions. This happened because the European Union imposed sanctions on Russia after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. The money is frozen, it's still there, but it cannot be really used, by Russia specifically then. Now, the European Commission wants to use this blocked Russian money to support Ukraine over the course of the next 2 years. And there was a lot of drama about it. The idea was to use it for financial and military support in the form of a loan. Not really everyone agreed. Belgium, Hungary, and Malta are against this plan. They were kind of worried about serious financial and legal consequences if Russia ever would demand this money back, which they could at any given time, by the way. So what's the alternative then? Well, instead of using Russian money, all EU member states could take on a debt together. You know, ride or die situation. This has happened before during the COVID-19 Recovery Fund, which was peak internet time by the way, but at that time the EU released about 800 billion euros to support countries after the pandemic. But there's a catch. For the EU to borrow the money together, every single member state has to agree. And that means if just one country was pissed off and said no, the entire plan would fall apart. And this is why the numbers kind of matter, because Ukraine needed a huge amount of money just to keep going. Between the 2026 and 2027, Ukraine would need about 135 billion euros, which is a lot. That money is needed to keep the economy running and to continue defending the country against Russia, which again, in case you never realized, those are 14 zeros in 135 billion euros. According to European sources, the amount is split into two parts, so it would be around 52 billion euros if in need for financial support and about 83 billion euros for military support. But there is one important condition. These numbers only applied if a peace agreement would be reached in the year of 2026. If the war continues, Ukraine would need even more money in the years after, but Europe took it by heart and called it a problem for later. Very thoughtful in this case. So where could that money come from? Well, inside the European Union, a total of, hold a minute, 210 billion euros from the Russian central bank was currently blocked, which still is actually. The largest part, which is about 185 billion euros, is held by Euroclear, some kind of international bank, a securities firm in Brussels, which no wonder made Belgium on its tippy toes, because in case Russia was feeling a bit, naughty, the very first target of their attack would be, you guessed it right, Brussels. The remaining 25 billion euros is held by kind of just private pranks in several countries. Those include France, Germany, Sweden, Cyprus, and again, you guessed it, Belgium. So what does the European Commission actually want to do with this money? The plan is to pull all of it, like the full 210 billion euros, into like one kind of European debt mechanism, which in simple terms means that the European Union would borrow this money from the financial institutions holding it. Those institutions could later then again get their money back through European bonds. That money would go back to the institution themselves and not to Russia, specifically then. The EU wants to use a part of this money to support Ukraine over the course of next 2 years. A smaller part, which is around 45 billion euros, would be used to repay Ukraine's earlier loans. That would leave 165 billion euros available for new loans in this case. And I don't know what the EU was thinking at all at this moment, because this was genuinely a call for war. We get it that the EU was trying to punish Russia by not letting them have their money, but to actually use it in this case and then somehow getting it back had so many risks that when I was actually researching this, I felt like they were just aiming to leave the subject as soon as possible, instead of looking at the future, because we're talking here about tons and tons of billions. So how much money will Ukraine then actually get? Even though Ukraine needs about 135 billion euros over the next 2 years, the European Union does not plan to lend that fell amount actually. The figure that is being discussed right now is currently around 19 billion euros spread over 2 years, which means that if the money would be paid out in 2 installments of each 45 billion euros. Those 90 billion euros cover about 2/3 of what Ukraine needs. The European Commission hope then that the rest will come from, other partners, such as the United Kingdom, Canada, Switzerland, the G7. And I am a villain, and I will make a part 2 on what the choice will be for the EU, because that would be a bit too much for one video, and people don't really have an attention span these days. And 20 people will be watching this, half of them would even make it this far, so nobody's complaining, right?